up, guys? This is Jonathan from Awakening Ministries. This is webcast number 1 for the Bible study in Hurst, Texas. Really excited about having this opportunity. I want to thank Matt for allowing me to do this and inviting me to do this. Just as a little bit of background, I've been working in youth ministry for about 6 years now. Everything from an associate youth pastor to a youth pastor to a traveling youth revivalist. I've worked in a youth treatment facility before, and right now this is what I'm going to be doing. Be doing this webcast for you guys. I want to say that I'm really proud of you for giving up your time and coming together to do this, and I'm glad that I get to be a part of it, and hope that this really helps. These are kind of going to be short. I'm going to just give you a little bit each week, and then you guys are going to discuss it there, and I look forward to getting some emails and hearing back from you, and just really seeing what's going to happen down there in Hurst. Like I said, we're going to be talking about identity for the next couple weeks, and really excited about that. I believe it's really foundational and really elementary, but I believe it's really important in moving on and getting to the bigger scope of things. I think we need to understand who we are and who God is, and how that relationship evens out. So first off, I'm going to start off with some definitions, just by what the world sees identity as. And I looked at this up through the dictionary, and there were two that really stood out, and I want to pull out for this. Number one of the definition of identity is the state of remaining the same. And this deals with what others see. It deals with what we're consistent in. And this is where we get, how other people label us or they judge us, because they do that based on what we're consistent in. So that deals with identity. I mean, that's a factor of identity. You have the identity that other people see. So what you're consistent in shows through. If you're consistently drinking, then by chance people are going to label you with the identity of being an alcoholic. Whatever the case is, whatever you're consistent in, that's showing. The second definition deals with the sense of self, and this deals with what we see. This kind of is the bigger one. It's kind of the big one to tackle, because this is the harder one to break off, because it usually comes from years and years and years of being built up and what we establish ourselves as. So what we see factors, in the end, what we're consistent in. So really it happens as a ripple effect. But the sense of self, that comes from what you label yourself as, what you call yourself. And really we're going to end up changing both of these, or at least I hope we will, through the next couple weeks. One of the forefront plagues in the church today is not sin, but instead it's false identity. And I believe that it's a really big problem, a really big problem with Christians especially, because we have some really clear examples of what our identity should be, but yet we live out something completely different. And with you guys being young, I believe it's a great time and a great example to really change that, to really get things lined up now, and it'll affect the long run. Because if we can change the way that we see ourselves, then we can change what's consistent in us. So the way that I see myself at times really needs to change, and the way that you see you guys' self really needs to change. And by that, it changes what we're consistent in. And by changing that, it changes the way that other people see us. So like I said, it happens as a ripple effect. I want you guys to know that biblically, names really mattered. People lived up to what they were called. All throughout the Old Testament you have examples of it. Even in the New Testament you have Jesus, who when he comes into the earth is called Emmanuel, which means God with us. And he really lived up to that. And I mean, you have so many examples biblically of names that they were given as babies, but they lived into that. They lived into what they were called. And this really can have a negative thing, and it can have a positive thing as well. So we get to judge that, because a lot of times people call us stuff that we begin to live into. We begin to manifest that, and we establish that as our identities. And then it factors into how we see ourselves, because we listen to that so much. But then also, if we could really get in line with what God's calling us, then we can radically change that. And that's what I want to do tonight for the first webcast. I'm really pumped about this one. This is probably one of my favorite weeks through the Identity Bible study. A lot of this came from reading a book called The Furious Longing of God by Brennan Manning. If you get the chance to check that book out, it's definitely worth it. It's one of the books that really helped me shape my identity and really begin to evaluate how God sees me and how I need to see myself. Sometimes we really need just as much to get rid of identities that we've called ourselves. We also really need to get rid of and break off these identities that other people have called us. So right now I just want to let you guys know that some of you are going to deal with a lot of identities that you've established, but pretty much most of you are also going to deal with, at some point through this, identities that other people have called you, names that they've called you, or things that they've spoken over you. And we're going to try to wash all that away. A lot of that comes through realizing what God calls us, but it's also going to come through you just proclaiming it over yourself that you're not that anymore. You're not a failure. You're not worthless. You're not, forsaken. You're not useless. You have worth, and God sees that in you. If you would, I want you to open your Bible right now. This kind of gets to be the fun part of the Bible study, I guess. If you didn't bring your Bible, not really sure why you're at Bible study. Just kidding. But we're going to look at Song of Solomon, chapter 7 and verse 10. And that says, I am my beloved's, and his desire is for me. And if you have any understanding of the Song of Solomon, that book in the Bible, it's really a beautiful love story between God and the church. And, if you can dive into it, there's all kind of stuff that you may not understand and that I may not understand. But what's really prevalent there is this idea of the beloved. And it's reciprocated back and forth through the male and the female being the church, or the replication of the church, and God being the male. And so in chapter 7 verse 10 you have this verse that says, I am my beloved's, and his desire is for me. And what that means is that you are the beloved of God, and he has desire for you. He doesn't just tolerate you. He doesn't want to be in your life just so he can have another number. He doesn't want to be in your life just because he wants power over you. But he has a desire for you. And what that means is that you have worth. Because the God, the creator of the universe, who made all these things, has a desire for you. He has a burning for you. We're going to do a really fun activity at the end of this in just a few minutes. Matt's done it, and I'm glad that he's going to be able to be there and share this with you. We had a blast, and we did it with our group of guys that met, and it really made a difference to me, just seeing them proud to do this and having fun with it at the same time. We talked about some identities that need to be broken off, and if you have a sheet of paper, it'd be really great for you to grab that and just write these down. I want you to make a list of things, and the way we did it is we said that we wrote out a sentence, and it says, I am not, and then you draw a blank, and then a comma, and it says, but I am the beloved of God. And we made a list of all these different things that we were not. For me, it said, I am not worthless. I'm the beloved of God. And somebody else has said, I'm not afraid. I'm the beloved of God. So all these things that you deal with are, or these false identities that we spoke of, I want you to list them out. I'm going to give you a couple minutes to do that. And really make a list and search within yourself the false identities, the things that say, you know what, when I look at this, it may not be what God calls me. This is something that I put on myself, or something that someone else has spoken over me. And I want you guys to pray about that tonight. And I want you to take a good portion of time to share these with each other, because it's really going to matter for you to see how each other looks upon themselves, so that way you can begin to help each other. But I want you to make a list of these and say, I am not worthless, or I am not, a drug addict. I'm not a liar. I'm not a slut. Whatever that may be, I want you to list it out and say, on the other end of that I'm the beloved of God. Matt's going to pass around some name tags here in a minute, and this was the fun part that we did, and we actually wore them. Whatever you want to put on there, you can. We usually picked one sentence, or just that mine said, hi, I'm Jonathan, and I'm the beloved Son of God. So whatever you want to write on there, putting this on and wearing this really shows not only vulnerability and saying that, hey, maybe I don't have it all together, and maybe I've got some other identities that I need to deal with, but first and foremost, I'm identifying myself right now as the beloved of God. And I believe it's really important. I believe that you guys need to understand that. And if you look throughout the Song of Solomon, the book, there's this beautiful love story, and they both have such a burning for each other. And I believe that as you really continue to go through this study and really continue to meet and seek out God, that's going to create a burning inside of you. But just as important as that, you need to understand that God has a burning inside of him to madly, furiously be in love with you. And he wants you. He doesn't choose you just to have you. He chooses you because he wants you. And he wants you with passion, and he wants you with fervor. It really is important. I want you guys to take the time to go through these activities. Like I said, you're going to make the list of things, and this is going to say, you know, I am not blank, but I'm the beloved of God. And then in the end, you're going to write on your name tag, whatever you choose to write on there that deals with proper identity, saying, hey, I'm Jessica, or I'm Matt, or whatever the name may be. I'm beloved. I'm the beloved of God. And this really matters. And I'm really excited that you guys are going to get to do this. I look forward to doing the webcast for next week, and hope that this one meets you guys well. Please take the time to pray over this. Share your list with each other, and really hold each other accountable, because the more we start breaking down these false identities, the closer we can get to getting a clear sense of self. And like I said, that's going to affect throughout time. It's going to affect what we're consistent in, and it's going to affect the way that other people see us. So I'm really proud of you guys for getting together. Really excited about this, and I look forward to hearing from some of you. I'm going to have my email listed on the website for this. It's going to go up on the Awakening Ministries Facebook page. If you guys want to get in touch with me at any time, you can. We can talk about things. We can go through stuff. I can hook you up with more scriptures if you want to. Even in between Bible studies, you can get in touch with me. Matt has my number if you want that, or he'll have my Facebook and my email, so you guys can really reach out. I don't want this to be as distant as, you know, we are realistically, but we can really get in touch and we can talk about things. I'm excited to see your growth, and really glad that I get to be a part of this. And I want to thank you guys, and now I'm going to hand this over to Matt.